Schon, was birgst du so bang dein Gesicht? Es ist wartet und in Ärgerlich Licht. Und bist du nicht willig, so brauch ich Zeit.
Our globalist today, Lee Dong-gyu or David D.Q. Lee, is a world-renowned countertenor, a male singer who sings in high notes typically sung by females. D.Q. Lee is also an inspiration to many young singers by demonstrating that you can be globally successful even by untraditional paths. As a high schooler, Lee saw the movie Farinelli about the life of an 18th century castrato. This inspired him to self-train, and he was ultimately accepted into the Vancouver Academy of Music. Lee went on to win major international music competitions and perform with world-famous opera companies. He has even gained fame in Korea through a popular TV singing competition. D.Q. Lee joins us today to talk about his art and his unique life choices. Welcome to the Globalist, DQ.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
So let's talk about the reason you're in Korea right now. Now, this new album, Dream Quilter,
Yes.
It's a gorgeous album, but I hear it has been released by Warner Music under a label which is very difficult to get into. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been my dream to have this label and logo on my solo album, and dream came true.
Tell me about what kind of songs you recorded on this CD.
I've recorded a variety of classical songs and arias, some of the very popular songs and arias that the audience might know, and that some of the selections should be something I would love to do. Some of the selections that I have been singing, my signature pieces that it's never been recorded before. So all three of the categories have joined, and then voila, there we are.
So which is the one that symbolizes you, DQ Lee?
Wow. I have Caccini's Ave Maria.
Is that the first one?
That's the first one on
That's
the
the
track.
very first one, yes.
And that song kind of made me be who I am right now at the moment, because I was on a TV show in Korea, and then someone put it on YouTube, and then it went viral. But I've never recorded it. So
it's never been recorded, and this is the first time?
This is the first time that's been on my CD.
On your CD?
Yeah.
Well, it's something to look forward to.
Thank you.
But you're going back to finish up an operetta in Germany. Tell us about that one.
Well, I just premiered a production called Die Fledermaus. It's The Bat, and it's an operetta by Johann Strauss. And I played the role of Prince Orlovsky, very spoiled prince. And lately, I've been asked to play a lot of boyish roles, and I'm not that young. So as an actor on stage, that I always reflect myself how I was back then when I was 13, 14. How did I react? And that got easier for me to actually portray the character as a young and spoiled brat, I would say.
Because you're a countertenor,
Yes.
which allows you to sing in a very high, is it a falsetto voice?
Well, it is falsetto voice, but I would like to say trained and developed falsetto voice.
Tell us about the countertenor art form.
Yes.
In general, how do you explain what is a countertenor?
What is countertenor? To describe it simply, a male voice, classically trained male voice singer who sings in female voice register. So even simpler description would be a male singer who sings like a girl.
Okay. Then the question would be,
Yes.
why? Why would a male singer sing like a girl?
For my case, I was trained as a voice soprano since I was very young. After puberty and vocal mutation, my voice changed drastically.
Like your speaking
what
voice.
I'm speaking right now. So it dropped about 2 or 3 octaves. But I really wanted to preserve this voice soprano range. So I had to train, and what do you know? I had this muscle memory since I was singing so much as a young boy. And my muscle memory was building up and it's coming back. Finally found my muscle memory, how to tackle and how to train. And then that's how I kind of trained myself to be a countertenor.
So as a male, you can be trained. You can train your vocal range to sing in that range. But what would a difference be of a male singing in that range versus a female, like a mezzo-soprano, I guess, who would be singing in that range?
We are in the same register as a female. So every male singer or every man can sing like a countertenor, because when we're younger, we cried like a baby and go, ah! That is falsetto. So if you can have this strained voice in a higher pitch, then you have a countertenor range. So compared to female voice, we lack in a little bit of power in projecting.
A female actually is more powerful in projecting.
Yes, because you guys speak in that register every day. So your vocal folds are trained every day.
See.
But as you can hear, my voice is trained as a bass. So I sing like this. But when I sing, I have to put like about 2 octaves up and sing in a female register.
So it's actually training a different type of muscle.
Yes, it is. It is. And it's also something to do with the muscle memory.
Because of that voice, those kind of roles are offered quite often to you, I would think. Is it not the case?
Yes. I majored in opera, and there were limits of arias or songs that I could sing. Back then in 90s, countertenor category wasn't really popularized. It was still unknown. So I had to explore what I can do. So I had to study a lot in music history, what kind of operas were written for castratos and countertenors. But nowadays, a lot of Baroque operas are performed. So I've been performing a lot of Baroque operas and contemporary operas.
Including the one in Prague. Tell us one that sort of symbolizes DQ Lee as the artist.
There are so many. A production that I remember is one of the production was Le Nozze di Figaro, The Marriage of Figaro by Mozart. And I played a young boy. I was in 20s back then. And that was one of my first comic opera. As a young, inspiring singer, acting on stage wasn't really comfortable. And then just playing that little boy on the stage, like I said earlier, I had to reflect how I was when I was 14. I was just running all around the stage. And then I knew that production taught me how to sing and act as natural as I can. So that production just gave me a lot of inspiration to be who I am on stage and who I can portray myself into. That was in Victoria Opera in Canada. Yeah, and then I did play the same role in Korea twice, and that was fun too.
That was sort of that gave you, okay, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yes, of course, yeah. That gave me a direction how to pursue my career, and as a countertenor, it was really hard because there were probably like 5 working countertenors back then. And they did everything, so we didn't have any work because they were hard to sing.
Limited
everywhere.
roles by limited number
Exactly.
of countertenors.
So that's why I had to hit all the major competitions to gain network and to be known and to put my face onto. And
To let them know there was another countertenor out there.
Yes, that's where I had gained opportunities. That's where I made my first management. So young singers, please go out and excel your excellence.
Yeah. Well, there are many in Korea that do. You are in good company.
Yes, we do.
So you talk about training yourself to get back your soprano-like voice. A lot of people are confused whether countertenors are naturally born high voice singers. How much of it is you have to have a basic soprano voice, and how much of it can you just train yourself to do so?
That's a very interesting question because I've been asked that question a lot, and I have concluded that you can be trained countertenor, or you are naturally born with flexibility and have this voice soprano training muscle memories, which is like me. Since I was singing E high, it just came very natural to me. So whenever I sing in a higher register, it feels like that I am singing with my voice. But if I hear a countertenor who's never been a voice soprano before, then I can hear the edginess of it, that it's been strained a little bit and it doesn't sound as natural as voice soprano trained like a countertenor.
So there is a bit of a natural ability to have already sung in that tone.
If you want to sound like a non-metallic kind of a voice, then it's in a way necessary. But there are a lot of metallic voiced countertenors who excel in like a contemporary music.
Yeah.
Like,
I can see how it'd be very edgy, for
Yes.
example. It could be a very edgy kind of contemporary feel to it.
that I can also produce depending on what kind of effects that I have to put on to the music that's been originated by the composer.
I do hear that because of what you talked about, how wide a range you have to be able to do. Countertenors are some of the most flexible singers around. Is that true?
It is true. We also have categories within countertenor voice type. We have soprano countertenor. We call it sopranista. And then we have a mezzo-soprano, which is normal like me. And then we have a contralto range of even lower than countertenor voice type. So we have 3 categories. And then usually the alto range is the standard. And then the higher register of a soprano range, then it's a little more special.
So how high and how low are you comfortable singing?
I'm comfortable singing 4 octaves.
4 octaves.
4 octaves, so I can really go as low as I can, and then I can go high as I can.
And you would be comfortable singing in that high as
Yes.
well as you'd be in that low?
So if you listen to one of my CDs track, it's a track number 6. It's composed by Schubert, and it's called Erlking, which is Mawang in Korean, and Erlking in English. This piece has 4 characters in it: narrator, father, son, and the Erlking.
Which is the Mawang, yes.
And I'm doing all 4 in one take. When the father character comes in, then I just drop down my voice into bass register. And then when the son comes in, then I do like shriveled kind of a voice in a way to make it a little more boyish. And then whenever Erlking comes in, I just go with my voice, full voice with like edginess to it. And then narrator is just like a very normal, very comfortable voice. Probably 3 octaves within that song.
But I can also see how composers, knowing that they have this kind of versatile vocal range to work with, would find someone like you very exciting to write for or compose for.
If I tell them, I have this range also, if you could put it in, and some of the composers already have fixed idea of their compositions, but some of them go, okay, why not? And then they make it into my characters. A lot of world premieres of operas, and I just tell them this is my range and specific range that I'm not really comfortable with, so please avoid that. And then they just compose according to my guidance, and I use partial vocal range as an effect or a dramatic effect.
It's a very forward-looking, I would say, futuristic type of musical future that you are creating. You know, in the past, it must not have been this easy.
Back then, yes, it was hard. The term of countertenor was unfamiliar, and it was new to a lot of people. A lot of the audience member didn't know about this term. But in 1970s, we had a comeback. As one countertenor named Alfred Deller, he came into the picture, and the famous British composer Benjamin Britten has written a specific role for him, Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare. And there's a role called Oberon, the king of fairies. And then that's countertenor's signature role. So it cannot be replaced by any female voice or male voice. It has to be a countertenor for that role. It fascinated everybody. And then ever since then, a lot of contemporary composers now composing specifically for countertenors. But usually the roles are written like very mystical or something mysterious, and someone's evil or angelic. It's never been a lover. Like,
yeah, it's never the usual tenor.
The usual tenor type of romantic type. So hopefully I get to play someone romantic.
It's for all those composers
Yes,
out there.
please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Warum ist das denn so? Du liebes Kind, komm hier mit mir, ganz schön still ich mit dir, mein Stunde nur, sie mit Atemstand, meine Mutter.
You know, in Korea, to be a part of a singing competition, that's harsh. What in the world made you think that would be what you wanted to do?
You mean the Phantom Singer?
Phantom Singer. I mean,
Singer.
really.
Oh my God. during Corona, everything got canceled. Like all my engagements were all ambushed, and I couldn't even fly out of Germany. I haven't seen my mother for 4 years back then. And then I saw my mother aging rapidly. And I go, okay, it's been too long that I've prolonged my career in Korea, and I've decided that maybe I should come more often to Korea. I called up some of my friends who are still in the music industry in Korea. My current management is one of them.
Oh.
So I had a meeting with her, and then she said, okay, why not? I'll help you. So we signed a contract and said, okay, I just saw this advertisement of Phantom Singer. Should I do it? Would it help? And she said, yes, it would help immensely, but there's a risk that you might lose entirely the classical career in Korea.
They'll never take you seriously as a classical singer again.
So I said, after 28 years of my career, professional career, I'm just gonna put them down to drain. So I was just like thinking for months about it. And again, maybe I shouldn't. And then some of my students called me and was like, I'm gonna apply for it. I was like, maybe I shouldn't do it entirely.
You were a little old for their usual.
Yes.
Yes.
They were all, like, everyone was auditioning. They're in 20s, even teenagers. But you know, what have I got to lose? And I was going through a midlife crisis anyway. I said, I need some change. And I told my management and said, okay, maybe I should do it. And let's risk it. And then let's see how things will go afterwards. So I did audition, because I haven't auditioned for a long time. So it was nerve-wracking process. And I auditioned, and then they accepted me.
So besides the fact that now you are a household name in Korea, what was the biggest takeaway for you of this whole experience?
Of this whole experience, I've gained fandom that classical artists don't gain a lot of. And then I experienced how fandom worked.
That's a big responsibility.
It is a big responsibility. How they react, how they respected the music that we produced and the music we had to offer. So I had another project going on in my head, going, okay, I would love to bring these people into classical music lovers. Because classical music now is dying these days, and ticket sales are really low unless you are, you know, some of the very popular pianists or instrumentalists. And so I said, okay, I would love to educate all these music lovers how to enjoy classical music also, so we can gain more power in developing this industry.
Were you successful, you think?
I worked hard for it, but I'm so glad that whatever I do, they loved it. And then, but I told them beforehand saying, if you would like to enjoy opera or classical music, try to study what the pieces will be about. Do a little bit of study before, or at least storyline. And I was doing a very modern piece by Ligeti called Le Grand Macabre. And then it's chaotic piece and very grotesque and very cruel piece. But some of the fans were worried that how they're gonna enjoy this piece. And then I said, okay, if you know the storyline, you forget about the ugly music that you're gonna hear. And if you follow the storyline, you're gonna enjoy every single detail that's going around on stage.
But that was in Prague, right?
Yeah, that was in Prague.
Prague. That's your fandom in the Czech Republic.
Actually, Korean fans flew all the way
Really?
to Prague.
To Prague. Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, I was really thankful. Then even some of them flew in for 2 days. They just came in, watched the show, and flew back to Korea. And I was in tears when I heard their stories. And I'm very, very, very thankful that I've gained this fandom, and hopefully they will remain as a classical music lover as well as crossover.
If they were able to enjoy you in that, I'm sure that they have been well trained for anything to come.
I think they are now.
Yeah, they are now. So in 2025,
Yes.
what awaits you?
2025, I think I'm hooked on challenges One of them is to nurture and nourish new talents and new students and how to guide them into being a better musician and or a better artist. And another is to perform more and do a type of music and create different kind of concert platform, different ways.
You're coming out of your comfort zone?
Yes,
You are?
yes.
What would be a DQ stamp of something that you would produce?
Something that sparkles.
Oh.
Every time they see me perform or see my performances or my productions, they will see something new. And I want to inspire them to just keep going forward of supporting this art.
Sparkling is a good word for you,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, and please come back and see us again.
Thank you for having me and call me anytime.
And that's it for me. I'll be back next week with another globalist who's putting Korea on the map. Sunji out.